Good evening. Good evening. I hope that you are doing phenomenal today. Today, I wanted to talk to you all about healing heartbreak. And the reason why I feel like this topic is so important is because so oftentimes we can get stuck in the pain of heartbreak. We can get stuck in the trauma of lost relationships or the loss of someone that we really cared for. And then all of a sudden, the relationship comes to an end. So I'm Aisha. I am a best-selling author. I'm a holistic life coach, and I am the founder of Girl Heal. And Girl Heal really is all about teaching women holistic practices to heal from heartbreak, break the cycle of toxic relationships, and really learn how to release stored emotional wounds and trauma so that we can reclaim ourselves, our self worth, our self confidence, and really rise to our purpose. So, today I want to talk about the very first step in starting your healing journey. And I know that if you have been alive for any amount of time, and you're an adult or you have some age on you, you have gone through heartbreak. And heartbreak is one of those things that torments us. It could keep us up at night. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to depression. It could lead to so many different crises, internal turmoil and crises within ourselves. And so today I want to touch on the very first step in healing heartbreak. Now, on my journey to this point, I want to share just a few things with you. On my journey to this point, I have met many women, and I can remember having a conversation with one woman. She was amazing. And she told me about her college sweetheart. Her college sweetheart and her had been together all throughout college. They had planned on getting married. And after they graduated, their relationship ended up falling apart. And this was over 20 years ago. And so her ex moved on, got married, had a family. And here she is 20 years later, still carrying the weight of that, still wishing things could have worked out, still ruminating in it, still, wishing that they were together. She never actually healed from the heartbreak. And as a result of that, she now, picked up a lot of weight. She struggles with depression. She struggles with anxiety. She struggles with self love and self care. And all of that has to do with those unhealed wounds. I remember meeting another lady when I was traveling. She was hilarious. But she told me that she had been with someone, they were engaged. And after about 10 years, they broke up. But after about 10 years, she was still holding on to the pain of the relationship. It never worked out. He was married, has kids. And here she is still in therapy over heartbreak. And one of the reasons why I feel like this is so important is because we have to learn how to heal from these wounds. If we don't heal from our wounds, if we don't heal from the trauma, if we don't heal from the pain, then we're going to stay stuck in a cycle. We're going to stay stuck in a cycle of going nowhere. I remember, a while back, just looking back on some of the decisions that I made. Like, I was engaged, I was in a relationship long term. We were engaged to be married. We were together for 7 years, and I made a decision to end my engagement, and for a variety of different reasons. But one of the most heartbreaking things to me about that was the fact that my son was not going to get to experience being raised in a two-parent household. Me being raised by a single mom was a beautiful experience, but I always longed for my dad. I always wanted his presence there. And I felt like I wanted to do things differently. And the fact that I wasn't able to have a successful family and model that for my son, to me, that was devastating. And so today I want to talk to you all about those of you all that are on this journey or that may get to this journey eventually. The very first step is acceptance. We have to get to a place where we can accept the fact that the relationship is over, it's done with, and there is no going back. And you don't just reach acceptance in a day. Acceptance takes time. Acceptance takes self-work. Acceptance takes awareness. Acceptance takes the point of asking yourself what I like to call the truth test. And the scripture tells us you should know the truth and the truth shall set you free. So asking yourself those questions, like, what is the truth about this relationship? What is the truth about this experience? And as you begin to dive into that and really assess the relationship, then I believe over time you can reach a point of acceptance. Say, you know what? The truth is we just weren't a good match for each other. The truth is I was an unhealthy individual and so was he. The truth is, it was a toxic relationship. The truth is, we didn't communicate well. The truth is, we don't have the same values. The truth is, we don't share the same ideals. The truth is, I cannot be myself with this individual. And I really believe that one of the major steps that we can take as we work through the process of acceptance is getting out a sheet of paper and asking yourself a few questions. And some of those questions that I will pose to you are, you know, do we have the same values? Does this person and do I share the same values? Do we view gender roles the same? What is their idea of a woman and what role should I play in this relationship? What is my idea of a man and what is his role in this relationship? Because oftentimes we'll find that in relationship there's a conflict in identity. So if the person you're with has this ideal concept of what a woman should be, how she should act, what she should say, how she should wear, how she should dress, how she should be a wife and a mother, what identity that is. But if that's something that you don't hold that same identity, and vice versa, he doesn't hold that same identity for you, there's always going to be conflict and there's always going to be problems. So taking some time out to really assess, like, do we have the same values? Do we have the same mindset? How do I see men? What is their role? What is my role in a relationship? And what does this look like for me? And what do I want it to look like? I know in my previous relationship, one of the biggest struggles that I had was I could not speak up. I could not express myself without being told like my opinions don't matter or how I feel doesn't matter or what the way I see it doesn't matter. Like if I did not agree with his idea of whatever the situation was, I was wrong and he was right. And so when I took a step back and really began to assess the relationship, I'm just like, that's not my ideal relationship. And that's really not what I want for myself and for my life. And so I chose to make a different decision, not just based on that, but so many other things. So today, the biggest takeaway is if you are in a space where you're struggling with heartbreak, you're struggling with moving forward, you are feeling stuck, then know that there are some emotional wounds. There is some negative energy attached within you, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and even physically, that can be weighing you down. And so, one of the things you want to do first is reach that point of acceptance. And again, that will take some time. The other thing that I want to touch on as I continue on with this live is some other steps that you can take outside of coming to a place of acceptance. Once you reach that point of acceptance, you really have to focus on how did I get there? Like what within me attracted this relationship? What are the wounds within me that attracted this relationship? Because what I found on my own healing journey is I would constantly attract men to my life and to myself that I was trying to fill an unmet need from childhood. Like I had a father wound. And so I was constantly seeking for validation, seeking for approval, seeking for them to love me and approve of me. And so I had vicious cycles of toxic relationships where you with somebody, you a people pleaser, you go above and beyond to get them to see your worth and your value. And then in the end, you end up heartbroken because they never really see you in that way and they're never going to commit and they're never really fully invested in the relationship the way you are. And so on this journey of acceptance of, heartbreak, the next step really would be to focus on what are the wounds in you that need to be healed? What are some of those childhood wounds that need to be healed? What are some of the emotional traumas that you experienced that you haven't yet dealt with? And so, those are just some things to start with. Now, as you're on this journey, some things that you can start doing, like as you know that you've closed that door and you're moving forward, detoxing is one of the best ways to start over and build a new identity. A lot of times when we go through heartbreak, our identity is wounded. Like we may look at ourselves and say, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what did I do wrong? Or what could I have done better? Or we may start picking ourselves apart and not having a lot of compassion for ourselves. We may begin to look down on ourselves and not really fully embrace the beautiful people that we are. And so detoxing is a great way. And when I talk about detoxing, I'm not speaking of it in a way of go and just start on some plant-based diet and cut out all these processed foods. Like that's a part of detoxing, but detoxing really is letting go of what no longer serves you on a holistic level. So really looking at your mind and some of the thoughts that you have that weigh you down, looking at your own self-perception, the way you see you. Like the way you see you is so much more important than the way anyone else sees you, because people will see us the way we see ourselves. So detoxing is really about going within and doing a lot of the inner work. Your identity, like we'll never outperform our identity. Our actions that we take every single day, the way we present ourselves, the choices that we make are all a reflection of our own individual identity. And heartbreak can really shift our identity in a negative way. But you can also take heartbreak and other emotional traumas and pain and learn how to shift your identity into the truth of who you really are, which is a beautiful, resilient light that's here to do beautiful, amazing things. And there's a purpose that God has for you and for me. And so detoxing your identity, detoxing your self-perception, detoxing some of your beliefs. Like, what are some of the beliefs that you have that are weighing you down? What are some of the self-imposed limitations that you may have placed on yourself? For me, because I had a lot of childhood trauma and a lot of wounds, father wounds, I never thought I was good enough. I never thought that I was attractive. I never thought that, I was worthy of love, because I didn't feel like I got that. And so growing up, like those were deep wounds that kept replaying out again and again and again in my relationship. So I would say on your journey towards healing, you want to begin to look at the themes. Like, what are the themes and the cycles in your life that constantly, continuously repeat in your relationships? What are those common themes? Because they all are pointing to parts within ourselves, parts within you that may need to be healed. So I don't want to ramble on and on. I hope that you all have, enjoyed some of what we talked on tonight. I would like to invite you right now to just take a moment to take a nice full deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Nice full deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more full deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And so as we continue to regulate our breathing, as we work through tough and difficult emotions and memories, it can really help us to regulate our nervous system and begin to shift energetically within, so we can start making some new decisions. So again, I'm Aisha. I am the founder of Girl Heal. I hope that you enjoyed this live. Stay tuned for the next one. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So drop comments below. Send me a DM. Let me know, what your thoughts are, what you're struggling with. And I hope to see you all again in the future. Until then, let nothing dim the light that shines from within. Take care.